Big part of my job is just making a lot of noise, basically.
There's no sound in space. And still, everything needs to sound so big.
But there is a Mars, so that's interesting.
There is a Mars.
Yeah.
Only it sounds like crap.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to another Composers React. And as you can see, Bas is back.
Hello, I'm back.
Bas, for the people that know Bas, you're doing insanely cool sound design for the games at Keoken. Again, I think I've already said this multiple times, but sometimes I'm diving into the studio and I'm hearing the weirdest sounds coming from it. And you're saying, I'm just trying a few things out, making a library.
I mean, a big part of my job is just making a lot of noise, basically. And then I have to choose which noise I like best. No, yeah, but for sure, it's a lot of experimenting and then eventually putting everything together into one cohesive soundscape.
You are saying it right. The sum up is you are making noise for a living.
Yeah.
A lot of people complain and they call the police if the neighbor's making noise.
Yeah.
We like it.
Yeah. I'm happy that it's like that.
Hey, we brought something that has a lot of kind of similarities to something that we have been creating. What have we brought this time?
I've brought the trailer of Fort Solis, which, I mean, I don't know that much about it yet. I'm going in pretty much blank. I know that it's partially on Mars.
Yeah.
And I know that the sound design is supposed to be excellent. So I'm super interested in it.
Let's dive into it and see
really
what we
curious.
think. And then
Let's go.
and see if we want to play it.
Yeah.
Dear villagers. I've been talking to them as well.
New studio. And Fallen Leaf is a new studio.
In the Planum Quadrant, responding to an alarm. Suspected power failure or wait for further information.
Recording submitted.
Nice.
The
Is there no
stars.
sign of security?
No.
Looks good.
It looks really well.
A little bit of the rhythm. Callisto Protocol vibes a little bit.
Yeah, a lot. And the animations are done really well.
Going on, Jack? You need to leave and let Central handle it.
Damn.
Okay, we go pretty
A lot of action.
blockbustery.
And they have the airlocks as well, obviously.
Yeah. I like that. It's a cool soundtrack.
Really intense.
Yes. Okay.
Triumph.
Pretty big. Oh,
Nice.
nice color change. That's a pretty intense soundtrack. It's funny because we do the
interesting.
same thing.
Yeah.
But I like it. Like sometimes a lot of like games they use, especially if they're not like huge and it's not like an Assassin's Creed or Ubisoft, they tend to make it too small.
Yeah.
And kind of lose a little bit momentum. Trailers are a little bit different than what you have in the game. I like that they go a little bit Hollywood, like out there because it's
Exactly, and I think it suits it really well. It looks like it's really heavy on the action part of the game. So the game itself, that it's full of action. So
I'm not sure if it is. I'm not sure. I'm not
it
too
looks
familiar.
like it. It suggests that there is a lot of action in there. But I really like it. Yeah, I really love it as well when you have like a build-up, you have some kind of suspension. They had like the rhythmical, almost clock-like element in the beginning. It builds up, you have the percussion building up. And what I really always love is that if you have a riser and a build-up and you have like all hits on the fourth, like da-da-da-da-da, and then you go to triads, like da-da-da-da-da-da, and then that's actually really interesting because you slow down before you go into the drop.
Yeah.
Normally you build up, but because it's triads, it can be super like, oh, there we go, and then you feel like you're falling over the edge. And I think that's done really well in this trailer.
If you do that wrong and you don't know the time signature of those things, I always call it ankle breakers. When kind of the time is like really freezing, but you also lose track of rhythm.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what you're saying is right. It's funny because it slows down, but therefore builds some more suspense.
Yeah, because it feels like it's a little bit off, and because of that you feel like you're tumbling, And that's super interesting.
Nobody ever said it that way because I'm always doing it.
Yeah.
But because it feels that way. But and this is the funny thing with music as well. Sometimes it's logical because people say, hey, it feels great, right?
Yeah.
But not putting the right words to it. But this is true. It's the tumbling there.
Interesting.
What is also funny because we are looking at how we did things. You have a moon or a moon rover, Mars rover in Deliver Us to the Moon, a moon rover, of course, Mars rover on Mars.
Yeah.
But it's funny to see also visually how they kind of interpreted their creation on that, but also how sounds are sounding. Like we have a rover that has a certain sound, but they have a rover certain sound. I like to sometimes compare a little bit, like, what a nice or brilliant way how they solved that, or how completely different they did it.
Exactly. One of the things that I would be super curious about, I haven't seen it in the trailer yet, but on Mars, everything sounds different. So because of the different atmosphere, you know, you have a different atmosphere there, and because of that, everything sounds a little bit muffled. Even the pitch is a little bit different. And we played around with it during Deliver Us Mars, and we chose for a semi-realistic approach, because otherwise everything would just sound super weird if you would go full realistic. And I really wonder how they approached that, if they took that into account, or that they fully went for just the aesthetic approach and making things sound good.
You're saying something interesting, because we have struggled sometimes a little bit by doing something realistic and doing something that's close to kind of the science of it, or a plausible way of outcome. But sometimes if you do something that is correct, it doesn't sound correct.
Exactly.
And to make something feel like, that is what it's supposed to sound like or feel like, is such a weird thing.
Yeah.
It's such a weird thing, because it needs to also, I think it's the entertaining value of it. So the entertaining value, if it's like, okay, it's real, but it's not really entertaining, then we probably go for a more polarized version of it.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, if you find out that realism on Mars sounds actually a little bit like crap, then you have to choose for the aesthetic approach as well. Or you at least have the possibility to also find a middle way, you know?
Yeah. No, it's cool, and I'm curious, because it feels a little bit like a scary narrative. There's something going on. Of course, we have maybe scary elements in the game as well, but I wouldn't say that we have a horror game in space. There's not horror in space. It seems like this is gonna be a little bit more horror, a little bit more leaning into the. I think not as much, but as Dead Space and Callisto Protocol.
Exactly.
I would say more of a light version of that in terms of like how gore and horror it's going to be.
Yeah.
But definitely feels like an interesting thriller.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like it has a lot of action elements. I saw some blood on curtains or something like that. I think people
will argue. Argue about something.
I think people are mad at each other. But so it's going to be interesting. I'm definitely going to play it as well. It's going to be pretty short, as far as I know. I think it's about 1.5 hours of playtime.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, really.
Okay.
I think so.
You know, funny enough, like since I'm sometimes managing my time here or there, I love it because I have the satisfaction of finishing a game. Yeah. So for me, shorter games are great. It's like the bigger ones feel always a little bit of an extreme commitment, and I've said it before in other videos. So yes, I kind of like to dive in, have a nice experience, and then have the satisfaction and the completion of things. Yeah. So I don't mind. I think it's fine. There's a difference in games. So very curious what this is going to be. Yeah. Space again.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Again, so many space games, and you know that there's no sound in space. And still, everything needs to sound so big.
But there is a Mars, so that's interesting.
There is a Mars. Yeah. Only it sounds like crap. Oh, well, thanks for bringing this one. A lot of similarities between Deliver Us Mars. Some people would say, even ask us like, oh, but aren't you afraid there's more games like this? No, I think it's great that there's so much attention for space and exploration and all these things. So no, I think it's actually a catalyst for one another. Like if the one thing can be there, the other thing can exist as well. Yeah, absolutely. So really lovely that it's there and that there's more narratives being told on Mars as well. So very curious. Yeah. Let me know if you already played it and what you like about this one. Very curious. Would you go to Mars if you get the chance? Would you?
No. Everything sounds bad.
Everything sounds bad. We can, the sound designers, composers. I might, but it needs to be a certain chapter in my life when I did other stuff to say I would consider it. Yeah. For now, I still have a lot of things to do here on Earth.
Yeah.
So let me first finish that, and then I will tell you guys about the chapter on Mars.
It's
when I'm
definitely
there.
adventurous.
Also, guys, if you want to go a little bit more in depth about some sort of compositions that we do, or you want to know a little bit more tips and tricks about how the industry works, or kind of what our vision is, we made a lot of podcast videos on the channel, a lot of trailer breakdowns and composition breakdowns. Check them out. If you want to see more of these trailer reacts, we have a boatload of those. So check them out. For now, I want to thank you for watching and see you next time.
Cheers.
Hey there, I appreciate you watching the video. If you like this one, check out this video or that video. And if you want to support the channel, make sure to click on top of my head on the logo and subscribe to the channel.